Hey everyone, I'm Laura Gadenik. I'm an astrologer and a therapist, and I'm here to give you the astrology for the weeks of December 30th, 2024 into January 12th, 2025. So, starting today on December 30th, we have a new moon in Capricorn. So, new moons are always times of beginning, planting seeds, and thinking about what we want to manifest in the coming month ahead. Capricorn is a sign that is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is a planet that likes to think ahead, create a structure, make a plan, be disciplined, be a little bit more maybe conservative with time and energy. So, this new moon is really about kind of planning ahead in terms of getting stuff done, being productive, looking at long-term goals, and planning for success of some kind. Capricorn is a winter sign. It's the first sign of winter, and winter signs are more or less so concerned with, like, are we going to make it through winter? What do we need to survive? What do we need to conserve in order to survive in the coming months? So think about this new moon as a time to plant seeds for what you'd like to see to come to fruition in the future. What will be sustainable for you, or what can you do now that will be sustainable for you 6 months from now? What seed can you plant that will get you to where you want to go long term? And also, whatever house this is for you, whatever house has Capricorn on the cusp, you might see over the coming month themes related to that house coming to fruition or coming to full light of some sort, or maybe you're growing something with regards to those themes. So, and then Thursday, January 2nd, Venus heads into Pisces. Venus is a planet about love, beauty, relationships, pleasure, romance, and she is especially happy in the sign of Pisces. She's what's called exalted, meaning Venus can do Venusian things in the sign of Pisces. She can connect better, she can create beauty and art better, she can be cozy better, she can access pleasure more readily. So with Venus heading into Pisces, we all get a little bit more of a boost of these themes of being able to feel better, have more joyful connective experiences, maybe even like getting more into style or glamour, or like what makes you feel beautiful. And relationships and connections just become a little bit more smooth and more easy, and there's more access to like forgiveness and compassion. So love Venus and Pisces. It's going to be really nice also for whatever house that you have Pisces on the cusp of. That house is going to get a little bit of sweetness over the next couple weeks. Oh, and also Venus, this is important actually because Venus, once she goes into Aries, which is the next sign after Pisces, that's when she's going to station retrograde. And so she's going to retrograde in Aries and then also retrograde back into Pisces. So, whatever, and this is not really going to be relevant until a couple weeks from now, but whatever house this is for you, this part of your chart and this part of your life is going to get a review of some kind. And that's going to last a couple of months. Venus retrogrades usually last about 40 days, but the whole cycle is a couple months with her traveling forwards and then backwards and then forwards again. So yeah, so our Pisces house is going to be getting a lot of attention and energy this year in 2025. More on that though in future videos. Okay. Friday the 3rd, we have Mars, which has been retrograde for the last several weeks, making the second opposition to Pluto. So the first opposition was on November 3rd, and that was when Mars was moving forwards in a forwards direction, made an opposition to Pluto. So think back to around that time, a week before and a week after that date. What tensions were rising up? What conflicts were you engaged in? How did you feel in your body with regards to anger? What did you feel fiery or passionate about or angry about? Mars is a planet about passion, anger, how we engage with conflict, how we engage with our energy. Pluto is a planet about transformation, death and rebirth, as well as what's lingering beneath the surface. So Mars opposite Pluto might have you well, especially with Mars being retrograde, retrogrades always indicate some sort of reflective process. So we might be reflecting on a conflict or argument that came up around November 3rd. Um, and just kind of thinking about, like, did I handle that the way that I would have liked to handle that? How would I have done that differently? Like, how would I do that right now? Um, you know, like I said, Mars being a planet about your energy and how you're motivated, it might also be about like reflecting on how you use your energy, how you are motivated, how you take action on what you're motivated by. So there might be something about your energy and also how you engage in conflict that is transforming, that's undergoing some sort of transformational process. Could also be that this is part 2 of a 3-part series. So, like I said, the first pass of Mars opposite Pluto was November 1st. This is the second pass, January 3rd. And then the third and final pass won't be until April 2025. So we're kind of in this process for a while. And it's not to say that that entire time we're going to be like super angry or engage in really intense conflict or anything like that. It's more just like kind of a process of digesting, reflecting, and thinking about how you want to do something better next time. So, and I also like to think about one of my teachers, Adam Ellenboss, talks a lot about like how Mars retrograde can be actually about laying down the sword. So instead of like running into battle into conflict with your sword raised and ready to fight, being defensive, hot, angry, Mars retrograde can be more about like, how do I actually engage with this conflict in a more maybe peaceful way? Or maybe I said that thing, maybe that was wrong of me. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe, it's kind of this accountability process of reflecting on how you might have like added fuels to the fire unnecessarily, or maybe even how you didn't stand up for yourself when you should have. How you might want to do something differently or better next time you're engaged in some sort of power struggle or conflict. And also, Mars opposite Pluto is often about like big changes that requires maybe like a cutting off of something that's toxic, poisonous, not good for you. And so this might be also a process where you're kind of thinking about like, is this healthy for me? Like whatever this dynamic is, whatever, it's going to be so different for each person. It could be also, it's going to bring up like wherever you have Leo and Aquarius in your chart, those houses, the tension between those house topics are going to be amplified as well. But there might be something that like you were maybe considering ending, stopping, cutting off, severing. Mars is a planet that likes to sever and cut off and go away from. And maybe you didn't quite do that on the 3rd of November, and might be a time where you're like, maybe I should have. Maybe something needs to change in a more drastic way. So there's lots of possibilities with this transit. I would say, be mindful of your energy on this day and this week. Be mindful of how you engage in conflict and anger, and just be kind of reflective on that and present and curious. On Saturday the 4th, we have the Sun making a sextile to Saturn. This is a day where it's really good energy to be productive. This is very steady, stable energy where you're able to be more focused, get stuff done. The Sun's in Capricorn, a sign all about getting stuff done and being productive. So very easy day for that. Monday, January 6th, however, Mercury makes a square to Neptune. This is like the opposite energy. Mercury is a planet about our mind, how we think, how we do things, how we communicate. Neptune is like the fog. It's like a daze. Sometimes Mercury square Neptune can have us feeling like we're in a little bit of a Mercury retrograde. It can feel confusing. There might be miscommunications. There might be even like deception. That's a possibility with Mercury square Neptune. Like not a great day to like sign any paperwork or try to like figure anything out with anyone. It's a day to slow down, relax, try not to do anything too productive, get lost in something instead. Get lost in some sort of idea or in some sort of creative flow. Also on the 6th of January, Mars heads back into Cancer. It's going to be in Cancer until like April-ish. I can't remember the date exactly, but Mars in Cancer is, so, you know, we just had Mars in Cancer like all of this fall of 2024. So we are revisiting what we were navigating in the fall. So, and this is going to be with regards to your Cancer house and your personal birth chart. So Mars in Cancer is very much so concerned with security and safety. Cancer is a sign about security, safety, emotions, home, family. And Mars is a planet about conflict and protection and war. So Mars in Cancer can be about wanting to protect or defend your sense of safety and security. And that could bring up, you know, wanting to protect or defend people who are Cancerian, people who are more vulnerable, maybe women and children, maybe things having to do with homes, wanting to protect and defend people who are, a little bit more vulnerable. Mars is also in fall in Cancer, meaning it kind of struggles in the sign of Cancer. Mars wants to like address things head on, and Cancer is like this like scared little crab that wants to like scuttle from side to side, and it doesn't like really address things head on. So there's a little bit of contrast here with Mars and Cancer. So this might bring up some difficult things with regards to home and family, maybe having to have difficult conversations, face hard truths, face up to power struggles. And also, you know, Mars and Cancer might have us needing to address emotional issues that are really, really sensitive. Cancer is about our most sensitive inner parts. And Mars is about courage and bravery. So we might have to, you know, develop or like access some sort of courage inside of us to face something that is hard. And there could be the tendency to actually want to avoid those things as well. Mars and Cancer can be a bit avoidant and a little bit like I don't want to face that. It's too scary, it's too much. So it's really important for us to be tender with ourselves, with each other, with Mars and Cancer, and but also to be brave and also to be courageous. Okay. One last thing about Mars and Cancer. So like I said, Mars and Cancer is very much so concerned with security and safety. And sometimes Mars and Cancer might have us like seeing danger where there isn't any. So that can be like hypersensitive, like hyper vigilant, like, oh my gosh, I'm not safe. I'm not safe. And that's not always accurate, right? Sometimes like we don't feel safe when we are safe. And sometimes that can also be reflective of like a trauma. And that can be a trauma response. So just something to think about. Wednesday the 8th, Mercury heads into Capricorn. Finally, Mercury is heading into a sign where it's not in detriment. Mars has been in Sagittarius for like a long time, like 6 weeks, 2 months almost. I think about 6 weeks. And Mars struggles in Sagittarius. If you have been struggling to like think clearly, get tasks done, do things in an organized and linear fashion, you're not alone. Mars into Capricorn is going to feel, I think we're going to feel a lot more able to be organized, to think clearly, to be able to better plan and access structure. So I love Mars heading into Capricorn. And then on Sunday the 12th, we have Mars, which once again currently retrograde, making a trine to Neptune, which is a planet all about compassion, empathy, creativity, water, the ocean. You might feel more of a drive to be around water, to be in water, and also to take action on something compassionate, on something where you're helping other people. I also think about maybe having the motivation to do something creative, or do something where you are getting lost in some sort of like flow state. And I really hope everyone has something that gets them into that flow state, because it truly is so healing. So yeah, that'll be Sunday the 12th, and that'll be like a nice wrap up to this time frame. Okay, I am available for consultations if that interests you. So this astrology that I just mentioned is relevant for everyone, but also the astrology is really, hits differently for everyone depending on where it's happening in your personal birth chart. So if that's something that interests you, please reach out. I'm open for consultations, and I would love to hear from you. Also, any questions or concerns or comments. And otherwise, I'll be back in a couple weeks with another astrological update, and I hope you have a wonderful couple of weeks. Take care.